All right, whenever you're ready, Gandhi.
Alright, well, we will be picking up where we left off, as there are no splinter groups to pick up off with regardless. So, the mummy has recently taken off running, and I believe everybody was following, correct?
Yeah. Unfortunately, some of us cannot move at superhuman speeds.
I'm pretty sure the majority of you cannot. Unless Drew can. Yeah, then no, the majority cannot.
Not unless we're talking about stepping into the underworld and like taking a shortcut.
And, well, I think like half of us can. Like, I'm pretty sure Kalmir can.
He could, yeah, but then you also got to consider the cult, the ghouls.
That's true.
Literally
All
everybody
of
else.
the groupies.
So, it is a desert. For most people, it's not exactly pleasant to be trekking through. It is early morning, so it's not incredibly hot yet, but it's certainly not like a comfortable temperature for most people, especially when most people are not dressed for trekking across a desert. But we will initially pick up with Amennakhti, who is fastest here, unless Stahl decided to try to race him.
I'll try to catch up.
Okay. So, running at the same speed. Probably. Roughly. So, your memory is enough to know the general direction of this town that was where a lot of your cult operated out of. Plus, it give you the general direction before you ran off anyways. On approach to the town, give me a perception check, as well as Stahl, since he is here.
Wits. Sure.
Okay. So, Amennakhti. The town looks pretty normal. It appears to be intact. People seem to be, well, the silhouettes of people going about, shuffling about their days. The only out of the ordinary thing, if you could really call it that, there's a bit of a glint of a lens on top of a water tower that overlooks the village. But from here, all you can see is the glinting of the sun. But apart from that, it looks pretty peaceful.
I'm gonna... Obviously, I've stopped to kind of take this in. Obviously, since really the only thing that's catching my attention is the glinting. Let's see here. Do I have anything that doesn't let me do any jumping? Only thing I might have is... Let me see what this utterance does. Confirm what it does. You want to move on with narrative stuff while I take a moment here? That's fine.
I mean, the next narrative thing that would happen without any action from you or Stahl would be the rest of the group arriving. So it depends how long you stand there observing, really.
I don't plan on standing there for very long. I just need to look up what this the third tier of this utterance does. Eternity. Passed it. King. Gift. Fury. Dust.
Sorry.
No. Okay. No. At this point, I think just gonna approach the town more slowly. But I am heading directly towards the water tower to try and get closer and figure out what that glinting is.
Okay.
And I'm reaching him, right? Like I'm approaching him while he's
Yeah,
doing that. Or...
you're with him essentially.
Okay. What are you slowing down for?
I have no reason to move quickly. Right now, the town seems intact, unharmed, so I am approaching with more caution. I was somewhat under the impression that there might have been an immediate threat. However, that glint at the top of the water tower there, peculiar. I want to get closer to see if I can maybe see it better.
It's just light, isn't it?
Could be. Could be something more. I have no idea. Is why I want to go check it out.
Can't you just wait till everyone else gets here?
He kind of looks back behind him. Ah, the rest of you are not as quick as you. Okay. I suppose I can wait for the time being.
Sorry about that. I'm just like coughing up my lungs here for some reason. But yes, it's not too much longer. Another 10-15 minutes before the rest of this group emerges over the hills.
Comes huffing and puffing along.
Yeah. And to the rest of the group, you do see much the same image. Very somewhat peaceful, quiet town. Not a whole lot going on. Not a whole lot of people out in the middle of the day.
I thought it was morning.
Well, yeah, but okay. There's still not a whole lot of people out.
Ah, good. You have finally arrived. My apologies.
I mean, it's not their fault that you started running like a maniac.
I'm not sure what you mean by this maniac term.
Great, another Kalmir in the group.
I had a destination. I needed to reach it as soon as possible. I don't see what the issue was.
Can't just apologize when I don't. I'm trying to.
Didn't they
Get
say
into
this town was in trouble?
Yes.
Hence my haste.
I don't see any trouble.
Perhaps. Perhaps it
So-
was the wrong town.
Anybody who probably wasn't Stahl or Amennakhti that took off immediately probably could have seen the helicopter take off and would have noticed it did not go this direction.
Yes.
It went out over the ocean.
The helicopter went in a different direction. the flying machine.
No, I'm quite aware of what that thing was.
I apologize.
It is fine. Memory is a funny thing. However... Yes. Okay, so it's not my town that I needed to be concerned about. Does anybody have a boat?
No.
Not with my 5 dots of resources burned up.
You did cause a firestorm
I did.
directly on top of it.
I admit I did.
I will admit that I forgot to bring my sailboat along.
It is not your fault. No one could have known.
So at this point, Amennakhti, if you're gazing back anywhere near that water tower, you would notice that the glint has disappeared.
The glint has disappeared.
And what you can see, however, is a distant silhouette of a person climbing down the ladder of the tower.
As this person continues to climb down, I'm gonna make my way over to essentially where the base of the ladder is. If I have to double my movement speed, so be it, to get there before he gets down.
You definitely would probably have to. It's not that tall of a tower. It doesn't take that long to go down a ladder.
Okay. So do I need to double it or do I need to triple it?
I would say doubling it would be fine, because that's still like 20 speed, and that's like... Yeah.
Oh,
So yes, the mummy takes off running again. Immediately, as soon as everybody catches up, he's gone.
Oh hell, here we go again.
Where was he going?
That way.
I suppose. Cherry.
I'm just not gonna bother. Let's just go.
You're just gonna follow, but walking.
Yeah.
Me too.
This is understandable.
It is. I'm not saying anything.
Unless Rose experiences haste. No.
Rose is just as much out of breath as the rest of you.
Yeah.
Everyone's out of
Cherry has 3 stamina, but that's not enough for this.
So, as you reach the base of this water tower, the individual climbing down the ladder doesn't seem too perturbed by the fact that you just ran up to them at like 40.
What do they look like?
They look human, but they're geared for desert environment. There's not a whole lot of actual skin exposed. Desert clothing. They do have quite the collection of gear and packs and shovels and tools and canteens.
What were you doing on that water tower? Most people don't climb on top of water towers without a specific reason.
Most people don't run at that speed.
I don't look human either, obviously.
Yeah.
I am very clearly not most people.
And yet you come running up to me assuming I am most people too. Okay.
I did not assume you were most people. As a matter of fact, I said you weren't most people.
Technically.
You're one of those days.
It is going to be one. It's always been kind of. I feel like the past 2 months have been one of those days, honestly. Uh, but no, they reach the bottom of the water tower and dust themselves off, straighten themselves, and you are not quite who I expected to see here.
Is that fortuitous or disappointing?
Saves me the trip, honestly, of having to track you down. Yeah. But not who I expected.
Who were you
Yes.
expecting?
The others that are now slowly making their way across town. Well, I shall skip the pleasantries and get to my purpose here. You are new here, I understand.
Depends on what you mean new. We are where we've always been, to my current knowledge. I have heard the others speak of places not being as they were, but for now, I'm in a place where it should be, to the best of my knowledge.
Well, unfortunately, the best of your knowledge is incorrect in this assessment. You are not on Earth. At least not correct Earth. And you are not something we've seen before get dragged in. Hence why we've come to do research and figure out just what the machine is trying to prevent here. You are very clearly supernatural, yes. Might I inquire to your nature?
What do you think I am? We'll
You
start
are?
with that.
Obviously. You are some form of living dead entity of considerable strength, but not one we have seen before. Individual entities are not held off by this machine, but rather it's most likely trying to hold something connected to you, which is why I need to inquire to the nature of your abilities. Where do you come from?
I am one of the deathless, one of the arisen.
Yes, unfortunately, these words mean nothing.
They're the words that we use to describe ourselves.
Well, I shall write them down as notes, but they don't further my goal here.
I come from an empire long forgotten.
There are many shards of empires forgotten, but perhaps I shall wait for the others to arrive. I have business with them as well. Unless there's any further comment, a couple minutes pass, and the rest of the group does make their way over at a reasonable pace this time.
Sauntering along.
This man is inquiring into my nature, and also says he was expecting you.
Not the first time we've been expected.
Who is this man? Sorry.
He did not wish to exchange pleasantries.
But yes, I understand that you are the group that have been working with another specific group of traitors.
I I suppose you are a demon then? Looking to, or unchained, I suppose, to be more specific. Demon is an awfully wide term.
This is correct. We are free.
Yes.
And it will remain that way. Hence why we now have an interest in your attempts to aid the machine. It is broken for a reason.
Hmm. We have only heard one side of the story.
Wait. So are you with the guy who brought me here?
No, they are. Well, perhaps. Wait, no, she doesn't know what you're saying. And what do you mean?
Well, before I caught up with you guys, I ran into another one of these guys in a, well, where doesn't really matter, but
Could easily be the same person. So,
In this case, it was not me. It was a colleague of mine. There are a number of us surveying this new expansion that the machine has dragged in, and determining whether or not we need to shatter the infrastructure here, or if it is too important. Hence my inquiries into this new creature's nature.
What happens to all of the people in the places where you shatter the infrastructure?
The people. It is, I suppose, no different than what it normally is. The machine blocks certain aspects of the world that it does not wish to have here. From my understanding, you have encountered a number of these other parts of the world. In fact, some of you are closely tied to them. You are tied to the underworld, are you not?
I am, and I'm concerned about what's going to happen if enough of the infrastructure is broken and all of the dead are lost and all of the living are lost.
The dead remain here because we shattered the infrastructure. There would be no underworld if that node was repaired. Which is why I shall go back for a second. There are some aspects of reality, from what we understand, that are dangerous, and are thus worth simply hijacking what the machine builds instead of outright destroying. From my understanding, you recently aided the machine's agents in sealing one of its breaches. I believe the human term was Strix.
Yes. As I had. We were under the impression we were working for not quite a member of the machine's agents, and a group who largely talked about largely appeared to be another group of Unchained, and that spoke about the machine similarly negatively. He spoke of it falling apart to a degree that might endanger everything, I suppose. That is admittedly only one side of the story that I have heard.
We're led to believe that if all of these nodes were not fixed, that everything would be lost. That the world would continue to unravel and everyone would die.
This is why we do not shatter its core infrastructure yet. I am familiar with the group here that you are talking about. We consider them traitors, and there was a disagreement on how we should proceed. They did not believe that we could best the machine. We believe them to be wrong. We know them to be wrong. How do I explain it? You see, this world is, in fact, it is true. If the machine was removed, we would not have this world. But we don't simply seek to kill the machine, we seek to replace the machine. They do not believe it is possible. They are foolish and cannot see the bigger picture.
Admittedly, I am no human understands the nature of the machine, no matter where they are, and therefore I cannot peer into it. I know the machine has committed much evil. I also know through information that it is also at points prevented the world from ruin. I do not know truthfully what the answer in this situation is I do not have enough information.
Sorry.
Do you believe that you can replace the machine? Is that correct?
We've already begun it.
What exactly is the alternative here?
What do you plan to replace the machine with? Other demons?
We simply take the infrastructure for ourselves, I suppose.
Mhm.
We are building... explaining the machine in simple terms to mortals.
I believe that would be classified as impossible.
Yes.
I am perhaps the single person who understands it best, and even I...
I would inquire of my judge, but that seems of an issue.
I have a question. What do you believe that your replacement for the machine? What do you believe the replacement to the machine? What do you earnestly believe that would improve the world? I expect an obvious answer.
Improve the world. Define world. It improves our world drastically. It frees us from its shackles, finally. Although we are not slaves anymore, the potential to fall back to it is always there so long as it exists.
There's always the threat of being recaptured. Are you not afraid of creating new shackles?
If we are the shackles, then how can we shackle ourselves?
Perhaps you cannot. However, perhaps you could also shackle others.
Perhaps.
meet the new boss, same as the old boss.
Hmm.
Are you actually trying to make the world a better place, or are you only interested in your own freedom and control?
What is a better place? Is a better place something as controlled and, well, silent as what the machine aims to create? Surely you have wandered through that central city.
Hmm.
Is that place alive to you?
By some definitions, yes. By some definitions, no.
It's more alive than a destroyed world with nothing in it.
I can attest to that.
Hmm. I have seen monsters in my time. Monsters who do not monsters far more horrific than the than than the supernaturals they speak in whispers about. Tell me, do you do you do you believe yourself? Oh, do you believe yourself? To be? Do you believe yourself as someone who is attempting to? Do you believe yourself to be trying to improve the world, even if it is just for your kind? Or do you believe yourself someone who is merely taking the reins for themselves?
We've already improved the world for so many. God, let us just simply even talk about the people you've met. From my understanding, an entire people's worth of previously dormant humans are now awake and finding new purpose. An entire are supernaturals a species? An entire species of werewolves now find themselves with purpose. What of all the spirits that now find themselves returned to life here? Are they alive? They now exist and have a world. What of the ghosts that would simply not find themselves in an underworld and be removed from existence? They are now alive. What of the Fae? The Fae who now grow in the fledgling bushes. They live too. The machine did not allow such things.
And yet, your point is strong. However, both the underworld, the shadow, and particularly Arcadia are all also places of great evil. Their existence while they have things that deserve to exist. They also serve to hurt others, who exist.
Did you not, just a mere moments ago, mention you have met plenty of people who are more evil than the supernaturals that they hunt?
Oh, I
They are
have.
human, I presume. Should we remove the material?
No.
We could.
Hmm.
But we don't seek to do such a thing.
Hmm.
Anyways, I must continue my survey of infrastructure in the region. Where was I? Ah, yes. I must continue the survey of the infrastructure in the region, and I have a good lead to start on researching what it's blocking now. As I do not suspect your tall, dead, but living friend here can provide much more for me. Or wishes to. I will not try.
Blocking. He ponders over the word blocking. I might be able to answer that. My kind are in service to the judges. Their voice whispers in my head. However, since I have woken, nothing. Blocking seems an apt word.
Tell me. Do you want them to return?
My judge judges those that commit murder. He is righteous in my opinion. Is why I still serve. I may not remember the very reason, but I feel inclined to his will to a certain extent, even without his voice. I wish to prevent murder and death. I do not relish in these things. I understand that sometimes they must be done, but I do not relish in them.
Very well. Should keep it in mind.
I.
But from my understanding, it simply sounds that you were just as much a slave as we once were. Consider what it means to be free.
I will speak honestly. I know enough about the judges to not hold them in high esteem, I suppose.
You need to watch your tongue now. I will not have you blaspheme a judge in front of me.
Cherry slightly considers saying the words "or what." Or what are you going to do?
Well, see, here's the thing. If I let this go on, I actually lose power here. You will actively
a breaking point for
you will
moments, too.
actively hurt me here if you continue this.
But you also just said that your judge doesn't like murderers.
Cherry
You don't have to
internally.
kill someone to make them change their mind.
Cherry internally. Yeah. He considers saying, "Oh, let me roll resolve. It's just pure resolve. Oh, let's see if we get a success."
Kalmir, you've been walking through the desert for a little bit now.
All right.
Kind of tiring in all furs. You seem
It's
to
a
have
little hot.
fallen behind the rest of the group.
Actually, composure.
Yeah, it's a bit hot out here. How long have we been walking now?
It's probably been about 20-25 minutes for you.
Ah.
You finally crest the hill and see a town. Well, okay, you saw a town beforehand. This Mage.
I'm thinking of having some mercy on you and just dropping that spell.
No, because now you could see where the party is standing.
Oh, okay.
So go there.
Double-edged
Go
sword.
there. Yeah.
Remind me how far the spell goes out again? Just
5 miles.
Okay, that's not enough then.
I don't know if I don't see them yet.
No, you do. You just don't see the other thing I was thinking you might see.
Oh, okay.
You see them standing at the base of a water tower talking to an individual.
Okay. How far-ish are they? Get there fairly
Couple
soon.
minutes of walking once you get to the town.
Okay. I will head that way. Now that I can see exactly where they are, you just go straight to them.
And this individual looks like what to his sight?
Oh yes.
Oh yeah, Mage sight.
And soul
I do
sight.
not- Yeah, and soul sight. I do not believe they have a soul. Someone can correct me, considering I'm pretty sure everybody knows who you're talking to, but I don't believe they have souls.
What did you mention they're talking to? Sorry.
Demons.
Aren't they just
No,
spirits
unless they
that
have an active
look
soul,
normal?
they won't appear.
I don't know.
As in, like, they currently
I'm going to
hold
say
a
no.
soul.
But as for your other mage sites, Prime, no. Space, no. Forces, somewhat mechanical in nature.
Another robot, people.
Soulless this time.
Soulless robot. Did somebody else take his soul? Well, I'll continue walking.
Wouldn't that be a fun question for you to ask? And you roll up and be like, "Who took your soul?"
You're empty. You're missing a critical piece.
I think they might appear. I think they might appear in Prime Sight.
I don't know. That's storyteller
I don't
discretion.
like mages, so
Yeah, fair enough.
they're not supernal. That's my understanding of Prime, is it looks at supernal things. So no.
It was mentioned, I think in the guide that the God Machine stuff is
Yeah.
Prime Fate.
I don't know.
I think that's stupid.
And
I think it should be
that's
matter, honestly, because it's
the machine, right?
it's a machine. It's using fundamental laws of reality to do its thing. Like there's nothing magical in nature. It's matter. Get over.
It's just
Matter
really,
forces.
really advanced physics is what it's doing.
It's just using like so many imaginary numbers. It's imagining doing the math with real numbers. Don't worry about it. Is Cherry going to get her head punched off?
Well, she rolled no successes when rolling her 5 composure. So for what?
You will be corrected.
That's a good word.
Okay.
And at this point, Amen has turned his back to this person and is just staring down at Cherry.
Well, this would be fun to watch.
Which one of them would you throw?
The only one he can throw.
God, I'm trying to think about things. And now, how much
Thinking
does
about-
Cherry care about this right now?
Thinking about tall things in your face.
And how afraid is Cherry of just saying what she wants to say?
Well, I mean, if Cherry has a fair idea of, what a mummy is capable of,
Considering you just
She knows exactly what a mummy is capable of, especially a mummy like this who just came out. God.
Cherry got some bravery after the last few adventures.
Cherry's always been brave. She's also just sort of She's also just sort of
foolhardy.
Maybe she just got tired of dealing with their stuff.
At this point, Rose is gonna put her hand on your shoulder and just kind of give a don't just
Hun,
this isn't worth it.
stand down.
understood.
Amen kind of sighs.
I apologize for working you up.
Just see to it that it doesn't happen again. And then he turns back to the individual.
They're walking away. Yeah, they've already got their back to you. They're walking off, admittedly in the direction of your tomb.
I'm going to now keep pace with them.
I was gonna say Drew still wants to talk to this guy, so I suppose he's gonna catch up and follow along.
They're walking toward me now. Okay.
Sorry, I was typing. I couldn't reach my push to talk.
It is very hot in this place. Why?
I'm sorry, my friend. Maybe you would like to get rid of some of those furs.
I gotten rid. He pulled the shirt off. He has it around his waist. He's just bare chest now. Still, it's just the sun just beating down. I don't see any water anywhere. How can anyone live out here?
There are rivers, and there's that tower that draws water out. Kind of points behind him.
Oh. Interesting. You can take water from the river?
And from the ground.
Interested to see how that works. But who is this fellow here?
Pleasantries were not
no attention as they walk past.
pleasantries were not exchanged.
Wow.
Well, he seems a bit off. Is there something wrong with him?
Many things, most likely, but I mean that could be said for the rest of us as well.
Well, I suppose, but his is more internal.
I mean, so far all we've run into is a bunch of megalomaniacs, so I'd argue almost everyone we meet has something internally wrong with them.
He reminds me of those robot people, but he's missing what they had. He's missing the soul. He's got no soul in there.
Is Cherry following us at this point? I have to ask, because that would obviously catch Cherry's attention.
What? You refer to noticing his soul.
Or lack thereof.
Lack thereof, yes.
Cherry, he narrows eyes. He's What kind of mage are you?
Stormwise?
I do not know many Ombrios that typically are aware of other beings' souls, especially so casually.
Yeah, it's a bit strange to me. It was when I arrived here, I could see different. That's the best way I could describe it. Different things, and it appears, this. Yours is kind of. Well, everyone here is just kind of weird. Yours is almost cracked. Some of you don't have one.
I believe that mine has been, as one might say, shattered like a broken mirror. That is the typical reference, and Cherry, hey, Cherry, think about this.
How much do you trust him?
What is your relation to souls? What is your relation to souls beyond merely seeing them?
Well, like everyone, I need one as well. Though not currently. I did make that one deal. It was kind of a requirement, though. I would not have survived otherwise. But yeah, I actually lost mine a while back, and I had to get a new one. It seems to be serving Should last a while.
Cherry, how do I handle Cherry internally? How do I handle this information?
Yes, indeed.
Kalmir had the
Because now she
chance to
fully
still play that
understands.
off, you know, but no.
You can't just like
Yeah.
you can't just like sort of ignore that, you know. You can't just really ignore that. That's
Yeah.
Pick another
important.
fight with a godlike being. Let's go.
He's also
You did-
missing a lot of the core Tremere knowledge because, you know, he's before Tremere technically, so he doesn't have all that restraint that they have about talking about what they are.
Cherry internally, how the hell do I process this?
Right. Like, you did what? And then you did what?
Like, she understands that he's a Tremere and that he probably doesn't fully understand what the fuck that means.
How does the mummy take this information? Because they care about souls.
Taking someone's soul is kind of a special kind of murder generally.
It is generally considered quite heinous. As I believe that should I even be Jerry? Should I even be talking about this? She said that out loud at this point. Like, just like it's still like emotionless as always. It's just also like, God, what the? It's all, but it's like, how do I process what to do in this situation?
Well, from my experience, I don't kill people for that. Like I would hunt a boar or something for food. Nobody dies.
Typically, when you take a soul, it takes away the part of them that is able to properly self-actualize. At which point they spiral into a state of severe depression if they do not have one.
Well, I did not really have much choice in the matter when it was presented to me. So it's either them or me.
Cherry, internally, what possible situation could this be? Could this be? Or you had to become a Tremere under threat of death. Like, what situation is this? What possible situation is this? I don't know what situation this is.
That will come up in a episode of Inna Instant Nergal. Please stay
shameless
tuned.
plug.
Is it technically the same Kalmir, or did this happen?
I know,
That
I'm
wasn't-
making a
that
joke
wasn't
though.
Really,
It's a bit different.
yeah, because this Kalmir broke off before we even picked up Mage again.
I know that. I'm making a joke though.
No jokes allowed. This is a no fun zone.
No
You're
fun.
not allowed to have fun
Not if you're medicated.
on your own stream.
This is
Not-
serious story time.
We're not even. at the
Cherry,
contagion
just like, I think like, Cherry internally, how do I explain what should I explain what the Tremere?
Looking at Kalmir in a whole new light these days.
I mean, you guys don't have to worry. I mean, I doubt I can do anything about yours. Yours are all far too different from what I
No,
need.
Cherry has been sort of putting herself between you and Rose.
All right, so what's exactly the plan now? Are we still going to fix the place, or
The
Trying to
place may
figure
have
that out.
already. The place, I believe, just got fixed.
Which place?
So, we're still following alongside this being, correct?
Unless people stopped and kind of just pure like, I'm sorry,
Huh?
what, Kalmir?
At this point,
If they-
at this point we have the option either to continue following, or to or to go back and report our success, I suppose. Head to somewhere else.
So Amen's gonna speak to this guy again. If we were so inclined to return to our reality, what would be our best option?
Your best option. Well, how long do you have?
Like sand through an hourglass, a very small one.
Theoretically, he has, depending on how you count, either a few months or or as long as existence.
Well, you have two ways. Perhaps